Hi, everybody. This is Alan Fine, and I'm here with a familiar face on Insider Travel Report. This is Amanda Elder, who is the Chief Commercial Officer and member of the Management Board for Kempinski Hotels. And we are going to talk about what it's like to run an international hotel company in this time of COVID-19. This is Insider Travel Report. How are you and where are you?
Okay, so I'm calling you from the Palm Jumeirah in Dubai. This is where I live. I moved here last September after over 3 years in Geneva with Kempinski, where we have our head office. And I moved here last September really to be close to some of the projects that will be running. And little did I know that it would be a very nice place to be in lockdown.
Right, right. Well, actually, can you turn your camera a little bit and show everybody your view?
A little fortunate. We have it's a little like the view of New York, I guess, out there, but that is Dubai, the Dubai skyline. So
Right.
I do feel blessed to have such a lovely outlook.
Well, so let's talk about Kempinski and how is it getting through the crisis and what has the company done to survive?
Sure, no, thank you for the opportunity. I think we were in somewhat of a more positive space simply now because we look back and we realize that because we have such a footprint in China, we had a little bit of a head start compared to perhaps other companies that doesn't have such a presence there in China. So we knew by late January, and then obviously well and truly into early February, that this was terribly serious. And we were already talking to our Chinese owners. Soon, unfortunately, it became apparent that it was actually spreading quickly and it was becoming global. And as you know, we have a fabulous hotel, the Capital Kempinski in Singapore. We have other properties throughout Asia, and then it arrived in Europe. So being a global company with just nearly 80 properties, we realized very quickly that we needed to understand what was best for our guests, and most certainly for our wonderful staff and then our owners. So it was really a 360 that we began to consider as early as mid-January, but of course it became very company-wide serious by mid-March.
And so you got to watch it progress, and you would think about each facility that was in the way of this like wave.
Yes, yes. We understood really immediately that we had to listen to local authorities, Alan. And look, as much as we would have liked to have thrown out a blueprint within the couple of weeks of realizing what was going on in China, we had to learn, along with everybody else, that the authorities would dictate to a degree. And we found that in China, where we may not have wanted to close hotels or even keep hotels open, we were to a degree following what the local authorities told us to do. But that meant that we learned lessons quickly for our international properties. And I think as a result of the decisions that we made throughout the management board, learning from that situation, we have now reopened all of our China properties, which is really fantastic. We are already opening in Europe again, watching local authorities as to what they will allow and not. And I wanted you to know, and all of our wonderful travel agents who support us so greatly, we never closed our iconic Adlon in Berlin. And we did not close our beautiful Munich, our Wehrseiten property in Munich. They were two, if you like, iconic properties for us. We were able to make the decision to remain open. We were there for those that wanted to come and have refuge or to harbour or to just visit, of course, again, following guidelines. So we've opened again now in Dresden. This month we open more of our properties that are throughout Europe, in Croatia, in Portorosh. So we're starting to see some signs of recovery, albeit slow. But we prefer to be positive. We're looking for those little shoots. And again, we're looking at China because things are opening up in China and we're seeing some healthier occupancies than we have in the last 3 months.
Well, and I know that one of the things you were promoting for the areas that were open was for the locals to have a place to just expand their minds and not be at home, but to come to a clean, safe luxury place. And that was a program you've been doing probably.
So we remained open because really we wanted to make sure that all of those healthcare workers had somewhere to go should they need. We also recognised that there were other types of workers that were essential, and because the hotels remained open, we could welcome them in. We also did a lot of outreach. It was not about public relations. You won't find that this has been broadly talked about. We wanted to remain very authentic locally, and so we fed people, we welcomed people, we harboured people, and we're so pleased we did that. But it was all about being there for the community that always support these wonderful hotels of ours.
So you mentioned that there were some things that you learned as this was progressing. What were some of the things that you learned that you then used because you could then follow through the rest of the, I was going to say fleet, through the rest of the hotels?
Yes, we're very pleased that we were able to be really, I think, amongst the first, if not the first brand, to roll out a very clear documented guideline, and we refer to that as the white glove services. So this was on PR because we felt that our guests and our readers and our travel industry needed to understand what we were doing. So specifically, we have a protocol. Again, I always do preface this with what does the local government require, and we follow that very stringently. But we now have a document, a 52-page document, in fact, which is about our service staff wearing masks, reception staff, masks, gloves, temperature check, how to create empathy, how to clean surfaces, how menus are now being engineered on our restaurants that are open, how seating should be, how meetings, although a small amount of meetings, of course, are happening, still board meetings are critical for people like banking community, healthcare community, and where we can give them those facilities and offer them that opportunity to come visit us. What is the seating capacity? This document covers everything. And I think that it gave our people, our associates, the confidence that they were being cared for, looked after, they could ask questions, they could refer to the document. And I think that was really, may I say, a game changer that Kempinski launched this very early.
So Amanda, are there any, in the midst of all this, just like in the winter when it thaws and suddenly the shoots come up, are there any new hotels in the offing?
Well, we're so excited that we will be opening the Seven Pines Kempinski Ibiza around the 1st of July. We're still talking. Will it be mid-June? Will it be 1st of July? But this is so important for us. We signed a wonderful partnership at ILTM time last year, and we talked extensively about this being a new lifestyle feel for Kempinski. So Seven Pines Ibiza is going to be our new offering, and we're so excited to work with them. Different vibe, very, I think, quite frankly, perfect for the situation that we're in, that this is a Spanish island, that there is the opportunity to enjoy the space, and I think space is the new luxury, quite frankly, and they will have all of the Kempinski global international standards that they will be running through their property as well. So our guests that choose to stay there and experience this for the first summer that Kempinski is managing the hotel will be very excited to experience that and feel safe.
You're so right about space, though. And so for the hotels that are open, and what percentage are you capping the bookings?
Well, look, incredibly, I'll give you one particular example. The legalities in Germany, and of course we follow those, is that we must not run over a certain percentage. For some, it can be up to 50% of rooms available, of dining space available. For others, it can be 35%. But can you believe that Berchtesgaden, which is just an hour and a half's drive from Munich, our beautiful little property out in the mountains, we could do with 2 or 3 Berchtesgadens, honestly, because the local drive market are so excited to get that multi-generation family coming back together that they're booked out the property, meaning booked out what the available rooms where we were able to sell them. So I think it shows that while we know that the international market perhaps perhaps is not ready, and of course the flight schedules are not ready for that yet, but that local drive market, still being careful, masks and such being worn is really the way to go at the moment, and we're talking local for local with Kempinski.
But so then that part of my question is answered by the fact that if you are following the local rules sometimes dictate that percentage that you're allowed to book.
Yes, and we understand that this is to ensure that this is a gradual reopening, that we watch how the health authorities track what's going on. I mean, it was very tough in Europe, that a little earlier than the US perhaps, documented throughout Switzerland, throughout Germany. But I feel that it's been handled well, and we're just so pleased that we will start to see some shoots of hope. We have to call it that because that's what it is. It just frightened everyone around the world, and I think we were very serious about listening and understanding before we dictated, and we wanted to, as I say, be very honest and very upfront and transparent with our communication. So when there was public relations or interviews such as this, Alan, it was about telling you what we're doing, in a cautious way and following that authority, because that's the best way to go, I believe, at the moment.
How have your policy then changed to help guests' confidence in booking?
Yes, we changed that immediately upon realising the gravity of the situation. So we have been moving the goalposts according to the months that, unfortunately, this is already 3 months in the making. So effectively and factually, as of today, if you book by the end of June, then until the end of September, you can cancel, you can just let us know right before arrival time that you will not be making it. There is no penalty. We are completely flexible. If you've booked an FIT booking within this time frame, but after September, then each individual hotel is acting individually. We don't mind that, but it is with empathy, with understanding, and with flexibility. The truth is, we're not getting a huge amount of bookings beyond September. I think people are still very cautious. Just reminding you, we don't have properties in the US, so we have properties that are all international to the US. And so, we're finding that people are booking shorter lead until September. And then, if we get to the end of June and we find that we need to extend that, we will do so. For meetings and conferences, we're being extremely lenient. Again, it's all about that. We call it the new trendy is being flexible. And so basically, you can have your booking with us until September 2021 for a MICE event. And again, this incredible flexibility and understanding will always be offered to those that need to cancel for whatever reason.
So internationally, the guest is not booking 2021, really. It's more near.
Correct. We're not seeing that at all. And I think people are waiting to understand what the flight schedules are, to look at, the fact that they probably had bookings this year. Do they want to go to the location they had thought of this year? Or are they thinking of a completely different location? And I was talking to a few of my very good buddies in the industry, and they were saying that a lot of the guests had already booked 2021, so they're perhaps retaining those bookings, and they're considering that maybe the 2020 destination will be 2022. So I find that very interesting. It may mean that we have somewhat of an indicator as to what's on the books now is more or less what we should expect, but for short lead pickup in the year for the year. And that's fine. I mean, again, Alan, we're all learning, and Kempinski is really listening to what our travel community is telling us. They don't want to commit too far out, and we understand that. That's just fine.
So what will the new normal look like? Will guests, there'll be social distancing? Will guests be required to wear masks? Will temperatures be taken? What's it going to be?
Look, we honestly don't profess to know everything. We are reading, we are educating ourselves, we are actually talking to authorities, and we're trying to be somewhat the pioneer in understanding what it will be. But we know that our guests will dictate to us what they want. And at the end of the day, I think as long as we have our ears open, we understand their concerns, their challenges. I think really what it will be about is a bespoke experience, and each individual guest will want it to be quite different, Alan. So some will want this hygiene, safety, security, very much forefront of their experience. Whereas other guests won't want to talk about that. They don't want to be lectured about those things. They will just expect it of a company such as Kempinski, and they will get it. I think the importance for us is that we understand what that guest actually wants from us, and then we deliver. And if I may say so, I think Kempinski's track record is all about that, and we will continue to be about that.
I'm trying to imagine the comment cards and trying to get your arms around them.
Well, you know, we're working on all of our guest database, guest history, asking guests what they want. We're going to have to do a lot of, I think, approach. And some guests won't want to let us know what they want to do, and that's fine. But equally, there will be others that will be very clear. And I think as long as we've educated and armed our frontline staff, we will be in a very good position. But ultimately, I believe luxury will return. It may look a little different. I think you're right. I think there will be space is going to be what everybody talks about. But at the end of the day, we're a group of people that want to connect. We want to network. I think this hybrid distance will change when it's safe. And when it's safe, hallelujah, we can all really enjoy this wonderful world that we're in again, this hospitality world.
So now let's shift the focus to Kempinski's relationship with the travel advisor. So at this time, what should travel advisors be doing and saying to clients about Kempinski? And do you have any kind of outreach in terms of programs or incentives or training?
Well, we have a little different to perhaps other companies. We don't have all of these online courses that we would recommend that you go to, but we definitely have our people who are asking if they may join some of these wonderful Zoom meetings that happen with the large consortia companies. We are also inviting some of our key partners to have a lot of calls with us, a lot of webinars. We're, of course, distributing information through our wonderful partners, the virtuosos, the signatures, the ensembles, all of our key partners, the traveller made agencies. So we're very much keeping up to date through those channels. And I think for a small company, you know, we can be very agile. We can change quickly. And this is where that lack of hierarchy, which we're very proud of, quite frankly, means that we can keep our travel industry up to date. We can listen, we can change, and we can bring the travel industry what the community wants, what their guests want. Also, we're working on a couple of things. We are looking at how we can incentivize our agents, with advanced commission or enhanced commission. We understand this has been a very tough time for the agents, and we respect the fact that, you know, this is really can be a 3-month by 3-month kind of business, and you're all individual business owners to a large extent. So we are looking at that, and we will definitely let you know what we can do for the community, but we're thinking about it and we're very seriously discussing that.
We'll make sure we know so we can publish that.
Thank you so much. Yes, I will, Alan, most certainly.
So now you've got that audience, our over 100,000 travel advisors. What do you want to say to them as a parting thought?
Well, I'd love you all to know that Kempinski is not going anywhere. We are here for you. We are here for your guests. We've ridden out the storm with incredible support, and I mean empathetic support, a lot of phone calls, a lot of Zoomerangs, a lot of emails, and thank you for giving us that positivity. You've told us that you'll come back. You've told us you trust us, and I hope that just in these few minutes that I've been able to spend with Alan, I can assure you we are ready to receive your guests. We are ready to tell you what we're doing, and I tell you this education process will continue, and we're at the forefront of that. Thank you for everything you do for Kempinski.
Well, Amanda, thank you for speaking with us. Good luck with all of the hotels. Good luck with the opening that's coming, hopefully in July. And we'll speak to you again maybe and catch up on Kempinski as things progress, because things are changing every day.
Well, exactly, Alan, and we would love the opportunity. As I say, some of the things we've talked about could well and truly change in a couple of weeks, but the opportunity just to say thank you and say hello to everyone is so invaluable to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.